Good morning / good evening / hello. We're going to jump straight in and call in the light just now. And I'm going to do that this morning. So in this moment I do just encourage us all to really take all of our energy and really be aware of it inside the body. So your focus, your attention, just moving it from anywhere outside of your body. Really allow it to settle completely within your beautiful physical form. And for a few moments, we're just going to allow ourselves to be breathed. So if you were to, as if you never have, right, to really be aware of what it is to have a body and to be completely within your body, and just be aware that there is this thing that rises you, gives you air, gives you energy, that there is a breath that expands you a little, and then somehow, naturally, it then just lets go. And there is a breathing out. But just really show up for that breath, as if it were the first time that you're experiencing, wow, there's like this completely independent life force, this giving and receiving, this breath that lives in me. And as I'm aware of it, as I'm conscious of it, I kind of allow it more. I kind of give more of it to me. You might be aware of really allowing it to expand you more fully. You might be aware of you needing a little more air, a little more oxygen, a little more peace, a little more love. But as you continue to just play, be aware with your breath in this moment, I'm asking for the highest good of all concerned to take place just now. And I ask for that essence that is unconditional loving, that is the Spirit, to fully be with us, be present just now. And I ask to be led. I ask for Eric and myself to be led perfectly and gracefully through each moment into greater love. And so it's alrighty. So per our commitment to ourselves, we're just showing up, and I am in this moment. I do have a beautiful question that someone has sent us, and I'm going to read it right now. I was kind of just checking in to see if that was what was present in this moment. It's another really juicy, rich question, and this question comes from Judi, and she says that too much of my life is on reruns and recorded events. I'm struggling and vacillating between acceptance and how that can feel like I'm caving in or settling, versus taking the leap of faith and truly going for what I want, for what I need, I deserve, and for what I can visualize. She has some more information here, but really that's the heart of the question. And I just, I so completely relate. And I think it's a process. Well, I'm going to claim it for myself. It was definitely a process when I became aware of, wow, I'm not just a human, I am this spiritual being, I have a soul. There definitely was a process for me in really being very committed to learn how to detach from this world. And I went through a good 10 years of really renouncing any dream, any goal, anything that I wanted, right? I was like, no, I'm just going to live in this present moment. And my only prayer is going to say, thank you. And that was a really profound and beautiful experience for me. I really get that it was on track for me at that time. And for whatever reason, what came after that for me was a call and a very clear experience inside that I was ready for something more, that God was actually asking me to receive some dreams, some service, some things for me, but definitely also some things that I was being asked to share with the planet. And funnily enough, the invitation to those things came in the form of just being really fucking unhappy and really challenged in my present situation. So it wasn't like I was sitting in my life going, God, show me the way. And then it came down on this beautiful ray of light. Child, you will go out and get yourself a boyfriend and it will be beautiful and lovely. And then you will go and create your business and it will be easy. It didn't come in that way for me. And this is why I love doing this work, because I do believe our challenges, right, our emotional imbalance, our challenges are not in the way. They are not the problem, but they are shining the light on absolutely everything that you need to focus on in order to truly move forward in terms of what I believe is where our soul is calling us forward into. And so for me at that time, I was working actually for my spiritual teacher, and was working with we're a close-knit community here, so I'm just going to be super vulnerable. I was working closely with JC Garcia, JR's right-hand guy, and my pattern at that time is just I didn't feel loved, I didn't feel recognized, I didn't feel appreciated. So it didn't matter what was going on in the physical world, it was never enough for me to be recognized, to feel connected, to feel like I was enough. And so just continually, I was crying. I just had all these hurt feelings of like, no one sees me, right? I'm working so hard and all I get is criticism. And that criticism would really take me down. And so instead of, and it would have been very easy to continue a pattern, which is what I was doing, which was kind of knowing that everything was perfect, right? And kind of just ignoring my challenge, ignoring this very hurt child inside that really was deeply not okay, right? I was crying a lot. And I could have, just continued to do my best to do freeform writing or just to kind of ignore that. But I really started to give that small, young Zoe a voice and to ask her like what she needed. And I don't think it was, I know it wasn't a coincidence that a similar dynamic that I had in terms of getting my love and my recognition from JR and from Jesu mirrored perfectly the relationship that I had with my stepdad, which was very traumatic, actually abusive, and just still full of rich healing that was really being asked of me. And so I got to really more than just let go of the pain and the hurt and how I was relating to the current situation in my life. I really got to go back and I really got to, and it wasn't even something that I sought out, right? But as I was really present with myself in those moments of I don't feel loved, like I'm working so hard, no one sees me, no one appreciates me, and I would give that little girl a voice, I would often see or feel aspects of my childhood when I was really doing my best to hold it all together, definitely after my mum passed. I kind of in some way gave myself the job of holding the family together, and it didn't work out so well, and I felt very I really held that against myself, that there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't worthy of love and connection, that I wasn't enough to stay around for, that I wasn't enough. And as I got to really just be with that Zoe, as she really expressed that hurt and cried those tears, I really got to pick her up and I got to be the loving that she was really needing, and I got to really give her that love, that new experience, that for whatever reason, if I observe that part of my life, really healed this pattern of me going out into the world for my love, and it really repatterned me giving my love to myself. Not in the idea of it's a lovely idea, because it is a lovely idea, but that idea has no value. But the experience of that, right? When we're hurt, and I think we're all hurt, we're all challenged so often. So I just want to say, Judi, I see you, I hear you, I love you, and I want to encourage you to really, in those moments when you do feel sad, depressed, alone, just to reference a little more of your request, there is a beautiful little Judi inside that really is going to very clearly express to you what's up, and also what she needs. So in those moments when I'm really just letting it all out, I do really allow my unconditional loving, my connection with Spirit, to come in and really ask me what I need. Because really being aware of what do I need, right? Stop blaming all the people, stop blaming, putting all of our energy outside, come back inside and really take responsibility and ask myself, what do I need? And it's usually for me very clear. And the idea of, okay, I need to love myself is a lovely idea, but just as if a small 3-year-old child came into the room and she was devastated, right? She just lost her favorite toy, or even to the extent of she's just lost her mum, right? That loving, that compassion, that energetic flooding of her, right? You pick her up, you tell her how much you love her. And in my experience, it's the energetic transmission in those moments that clears our karma, and that stops us from then unconsciously trying to get our love from other people in patterns. For me at that time, unrequited love, trying to get my recognition and approval from other people. It heals those aspects that are trying to get our love from outside of ourselves, because we now have this experience, this reference point, I love me, right? And it's not an idea, it is an experience. And so I just love the design of this life, because God's going to use the most random things to get you out of balance. And in each of those moments, when you're hurt, when you're challenged, right, you have an opportunity to go, oh, it's fine, it's perfect. He didn't mean it. He's doing his best. And that's all true. And often throughout the day, that's what we've got to do, right? Because I don't have all day just to sit here with my feelings and talk to myself. But when it keeps coming back, and when you know it's like one of those doozies, it's just how I'm feeling is so irrational compared with what's going on right now, I do really encourage us to take those beautiful hurt little beings, hurt children, hurt selves, hurt experiences inside, and really give them what they need.
There we go. So what's the question again? Can you read the question?
Well,
I'm listening to you, doing such a good job.
So the question is, I'm struggling between accepting, which I get it, sometimes can feel like settling, versus, right, should I go with this other experience that I have inside that's almost encouraging me to take that leap of faith, to truly go for what I want.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think what first came forward is that accepting, for me at least, is not a settling for less. It's not a surrendering in a negative way, I guess. To me, acceptance is peace inside. So if I'm really accepting something, I'm at peace with it in a way. So it's more than like a mental idea of, okay, I'm just going to accept this, and like I force myself to accept this. If I'm truly accepting something, I'm at peace with it in terms of inside of me, in terms of my domain. So I guess if you want to accept, I want to accept, I just do whatever I need to get to that place of peace inside. So if I have a judgment on something that's going on, or let's say my current situation, the situation I feel like I'm settling for less. So if I'm judging that, then I'm not at peace with it. So I would do whatever I can to get at peace with what's present. But getting at peace with what's present doesn't mean not also moving toward what I want, or my dreams, or what my heart's calling me towards. It's kind of like saying, well, this is what's happening right now that I can't do anything about in this moment, or what has already happened. So I'd like to get at peace with that, because I can't change this in this second. Like right here, I'm sitting here. I can't change this right now, but I could get up in the future and move that. So, and maybe getting up is me moving forward towards my dream. Maybe getting up is me following my heart. And so I can do that in the next moment. But right now, I'm going to be at peace with what's going on and do whatever I need to do to get to that place inside of me. That is at peace, and that is content. And so if that's self-forgiveness, if that's letting hurt come up about life in general, the shittiness of life, woe is me, the victimness, I mean, we all have that, right? So I would just do whatever it takes to get to that peace of what's present in life. And at the same time, you can plant seeds and intention and start moving towards what your heart's really calling you towards. So acceptance and moving towards your dreams are very much two things that go hand in hand, in my experience. And if you're accepting your dreams, there's an embracing of it, I guess. So there's an embracing of life. Anyway, that helps.
Well, and I think I think that's a hard one for the mind, because often in working with clients, right, we start where we are, right, and I really agree that they're the most complementary, most beautiful parallel experiences, really doing everything that we can to accept and be so grateful for our entire life, just as it is right now. And at the same time, actually be very aware of, oh, well, I want this. This is what's next for me, right? And I've really become aware recently of how, particularly when we've spent a good number of years and really feel lined up with, like, I do live an intention of the highest good, right? My clearest prayer is, whatever Spirit has in store for me, I want to be in alignment with that. I'm not choosing to live by the ego and to just get what I want for my ego's sake, but when I'm really living in this alignment of I am here for the highest good, I do believe that our wants are given to us in order to serve God, in order to serve that intention of the highest good.
And also just clear our karma. So if that's what's needed, if that's going to serve the upliftment of who we are, which is the upliftment of, or self-awareness of God, then that's what we're going to be directed towards.
And so I do think it's hard for the mind to wrap its head around, well, how could I possibly be motivated to really do whatever it takes to create this next situation in my life if I'm saying everything's perfect just as it is right now. I'm so grateful for everything just as it is. I'm accepting it. I'm loving it, right? And just from experience, I just know that the more that we can come into acceptance and really be aware of those judgments, those hurt feelings, those parts of us that more than a mental experience, but really feel like, no, it shouldn't be this way. I should be getting more, or it should be different, right? Whatever feels wrong or not okay in our current experience, that's what is really calling you to go into and heal in order to be in the acceptance. And it is just truly my experience that when we come, and I had this experience working on MSIA staff, right? I became aware that I was called into something more and I wasn't feeling as fulfilled as I wanted to. But my parallel track, while really asking God and actually taking steps to move forward on my own business, I was so aware that I needed to come into such acceptance and love with my current situation. And, you know, I don't know anyone that works in an organization with a lot of people that doesn't have challenges. But what was profound to me, that as I really just wanted to complete in such an incredible way, and I really knew that it was on track when, for the last few months of me being with MSIA, it is almost like just all of that friction, all of that challenge dissolved. And I could see karmically that, wow, yeah, it's complete for you here. And I don't think that would have happened if I hadn't really allowed myself to go into what was challenging, take responsibility for it, and sometimes actually do something out in the world, but often actually just, if I was needing more recognition, if I was, whatever I was needing, right? Recognition is my thing, so often that's what comes up for me. Give it to myself so that I am so just feeling loved and recognized and appreciated. And so I was sharing this with a group the other day. I feel like allowing is some magical version of accepting plus cooperating, and actually accepting and cooperating so much that we're actually then in that place where spirit comes through and actually moves us very dynamically into action. So I have often been questioned, like, well, allowing, isn't that just kind of like letting people walk over you and just not doing anything with your life, like settling? And in my experience, when we truly allow, right, what is right now, and we come into complete cooperation, we're one with this dynamic life force that is always moving us forward in expansion. And that is the most active place there is. But it starts with acceptance. It really starts with living exactly where we are and really loving that and grateful for that. And I don't believe that there is a better springboard or a better, I do not like the word manifesting or attracting, but if we were to use those words, because there is an essence in those words that I get that's true. So if I were to really live my gratitude and my acceptance and my loving for everything in my life right now, I don't believe that there is a greater space of manifesting or attracting that's next. The dreams that we want, the dreams that's in our heart, other than that. And that will often require you be so full and actually feel and experience that gratitude, because in my experience, that's when the intuition comes in. That's when the action comes in, right? Just being grateful for our life right now isn't just sitting here and going, okay, great, I'm going to go stick my head in the sand. Often it's like I love this so much, and I'm going to go do what's next. Give this, give back. It's active.
I think gratitude's almost like the up-leveling of acceptance, in a way. It's almost like acceptance is like a neutrality in that piece, and gratitude is like taking it to like, this is a blessing, like, wow, like I'm so, like, it's just another level of that. And I just want to also, I think your words are so clear about like why you chose allowing love, you know, it's because you're not just allowing anything. It's not allowing anything. It's allowing the loving. It's not allowing someone to walk over them. You know, it's very clear, those words, I think, why they came forward for you. And I think, I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I think a good way to end would be, I think, a little process of acceptance, which for me, I think one of the simplest ways to accept for me is to just allow myself to be breathed.
Mm-hmm.
And I really notice sometimes when I'm like thinking a lot, or I'm trying to get something done, or something's going on, that I'm not breathing in a relaxed way. I'm not really allowing myself to be breathed. It's like tight, maybe it's shorter. So anyway, if we can just come into stillness for a minute and just close our eyes. Just really allow ourselves to be breathed. So just loosen up and let go. And we just call forward this acceptance in our body and our lungs that allows us to be breathed. That gives us life. And we receive it in gratitude.
And in this place of really just letting go, of relaxing, of accepting, of allowing ourselves to be breathed. Also allowing one aspect of challenge, something that you find in your everyday life really hard to accept. And really allowing that one challenge to be present. And just being really close and sweet and intimate with that challenge right now. And asking that challenge, what do you need? Truly, what is it that you need? And I encourage us all to really travel down more deeply into those needs. Right? Sometimes it comes up, I need more money, I need a better living situation, I need more friends. So really allowing that to come up, and then really allowing yourself to be aware of what do you really need? What's at the heart? What experience? What experience in your body is it that you are needing in this need of more money or more friends? What is it that you really need? Just allowing yourself to be aware of that. And then if you choose, really committing and letting yourself know that you're here to give that to yourself, and maybe there is some way that you can invisibly, magically give that to yourself right now. And in this moment, just doing our best to be grateful for all of the challenges. And really, I ask this every day. I ask the Spirit to really support me in being grateful for all of my challenges. All that it, at first is hard to accept, it's hard to be grateful for. I do ask for the strength and the spiritual support to really come into gratitude for my entire life, just as it is.
Okay.
I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful week. I'm just so grateful. I really shied away from doing videos for so long because it always felt like such a chore, and just my shit would come up, right? My insecurities would come up. And for whatever reason in this process, I guess not having expectations or even knowing what this is, right? I look forward to it, right? It's like something we get to share. So I'm just so grateful to be here. Also,
Yeah,
we'll be here next Thursday.
And it's funny because I think of how many times I say something and I'm like, oh, I wish I said it a little differently. Whatever, I don't always think that, but the words come out how they come out, and they're, I guess we'd say, rarely perfect. But I know my intention is to be present as much as I can and be present with Spirit, and hopefully that we all can experience the love and the Spirit and the peace and acceptance that's present when we do this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a really amazing thing that Ed Sheeran shared in his documentary, and it was that, you know, he just wanted to really show up and share all of his songs, right? Just to write, to get them out, because his experience of creativity, or my interpretation was of the Spirit, was that we come in as a bit of a dirty tap. So sometimes, right, there is some clearing out that needs to be expressed, right? When you first pick up a violin, when you first pick up a paintbrush, when you first get on Facebook Live, right? It's probably going to be a bit messy and not really, it's just going to be what it is, right? But the more that we really show up, and Sheeran just had this lovely analogy of that clear water is coming, right? Just do it. Just do it. And that beautiful, clear crystal water is coming. Yeah. Awesome. Love you guys so much.
Love you guys.
See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.